website visitors to action takers. Here's the plot. I'll say it again. From website visitors to action takers, here is the plot. The plot thickens. And that's what we're about to get into right now. And thank you for being here and listening to me and connecting always and learning something new. This is a business and marketing house where we talk about great things, and shout out to Rocky, who is the owner of the house. I'm excited to be here with y'all because I just decided that there are things that we need to understand and take action on so that we don't miss out on our opportunities to grow and be the best versions of ourselves for the people that we want to serve. Thank you for being here, Wanda, Robert, Renee. I see y'all. And anyone else that's coming to the room, please feel free to click on the link above. If you want to book a call with me, connect with me, say something, let's talk, let's have a conversation, let's make it happen. So we're going to make this. What's up, Renee?
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming up on stage. How's your day going?
It is going good. I'm so glad you made this room. Um, I'm new to, I just built up, I just recently built up my first website. So,
Hey, that's dope. Congratulations. Tell us about it.
yeah, so, right now I just launched my website with the platform, Lovable. Basically, it is digital website where I sell my journals, my digital journals. It's spiritual journals. So I have two digital journals out. It's called the Mother Wound Shadow Work for Women and the Mother Wound Shadow Work for Men. And I have other things coming soon. Um, so yeah, I have my domain and stuff like that. Um, Definitely, and I designed it myself. I used AI for like the illustration and stuff, but I came up with like the creativity and stuff. I came up with like the shadow work questions and stuff. Um, so yeah, it's going good. I'm excited about it. Only thing right now in the spiritual industry, it is kind of complex with the marketing and getting to the right audience. So the only platform I've been using to kind of show it out is Facebook, since Facebook have spiritual groups. But so that's the only obstacle right now I've been kind of navigating. So
You came to the right room, and like Jake said in the chat, congratulations, congrats. You've done a great thing, and we're going to definitely break it down so that you can see the differences between how to be a website visitor or an onlooker to an actual action taker that will make the difference in what you expect from the expectation that you set. So definitely we'll talk about that. Thank you, Renee.
you're welcome.
I had to make sure I do it. What's going down? Happy July.
Happy July. Listen, I really appreciate you. This is like the second time in a week you've been in sync with my schedule. I literally just got home, taking a breather, and then you sent me the link to the room. So happy to be here.
Good to have you here, Celeste. Let people know who you are so that people can also get, to know you a little bit more for those who are hearing you for the first time.
So I'm Celeste and I reside on the West Coast. I'm in Portland, Oregon. And yes, there are Black people in Portland, Oregon, if you're wondering. And I've been a solopreneur for the last 15 years. I started off as like a super struggling single mom, just trying to, escape my desk job. And I was like, you know what? Let me start up a business. And the thing that accelerated my business is this good old thing that Favour always talks about, and that is SEO, search engine optimization. I literally taught myself how to rank my ugly website. It looks better now, y'all. But back then it was pretty bad. But I figured out how to rank it on Google when people search for what I do. And that is a thing that 10x my business. Fast forward, I now operate my business full time. We grossed last year record numbers. So I'm just really happy to be here and share the space with all you amazing folks. So I will pass it back to you.
Thank you, Celeste, and congratulations on all you do. You know, whenever I hear your story, I'm like, man, this is a documentary right here. Renee, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I am also a truck driver, so I travel 48 states, and Portland, Oregon is so beautiful. Well, the Oregon is very beautiful. Oh my gosh. Um, Especially like the roads are so curvy. It's so like different from the south. The landscape is really beautiful over there. And then they filmed Twilight in Oregon, so it's really beautiful.
I love how you said the Oregon. That's dope. I'm gonna use that one. That's dope. I'm based in Houston, Texas, y'all. For those hearing me for the first time, and I help businesses, entrepreneurs, creators to understand, demystify, decode, and just get better with their online presence so that they can be found on platforms like Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, Brave, ChatGPT, Cloud, Manus, name it. And we make sure that your website is seen, heard, and scaled so that organically you can connect with businesses online. And I've worked with businesses from small to enterprise to fractional. And we've been doing this for the last 13, 14 years now. Podcast is going to be 7 years next month. And we have 700 episodes. So it's like, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. And meeting people and connecting with people all over the world is a blessing. So thank you so much, you guys, for being here. I see you as well, Hamid, Tony, and Faluket. Good to see you as well, Faluket. Congratulations on the great things that I'm hearing about. And thank you for inviting me there too. I'm excited for all the things that are happening in your world. Big, big congratulations to you, and God bless them too. You know, I wanted to make this room and talk about websites to action takers because I've seen a lot of websites. In fact, there are 1.1 billion websites in the world. And you also need to know where you rank. You need to know where you stand. You need to know what your website is doing. And you need to know exactly how people are finding you, right? You could start your website today, and 10 years from now, your website could be a global phenomenon. You could start your website today, and the next 10 years from now, your website is nowhere to be seen. So it really depends on you and what you want for your business and where you want things to go. And I love building websites from WordPress to Wix to Shopify to Squarespace to Tilda to Duda. And we do a lot of those things to make sure that you have the right things in place as well. So why did I come up with this topic, and why am I bringing this discussion to you? Because the plot thickens. Like I said in the beginning, when you have a website, your website is what people are going to see. When people see your website, there's a way that they think about your brand or your business that you have set the tone. It's kind of like walking into a room or walking into a space. It's how you set the room, it's how you set the space that's going to make them feel the way they feel. If you see balloons, if you see roses, if you see petals, if you see dirt, if you see sand, if you see mud, whatever you're going to show them is what they're going to feel. So the way websites are, you have to think about it from the perspective of the onlooker, from the receiver, from the consumer. And that's where action taking comes into play, because you want to allow people to take action, and people don't know what to do until you tell them. Because if you don't tell them, how will they know? Literally, we were on a call yesterday, Celeste, we're on a call here, and someone booked a call with me, like there were 5 minutes left. Like this link that you see at the top, someone booked a call with me, and I got to talk to her, and she does Bitcoin jewelry. Which is a whole different ball game. And I'm like, whoa. And I didn't see her in the whole room. We were here for about an hour, and she came at the last 5 minutes, and she booked a call with me, and I'm talking to her tomorrow. I've sent her an audit already of her site just to see exactly how we can take to the next level what we want to do for her business. And it got me thinking, when people build a website, especially when it's a website developer, all they think about is, yeah, it looks pretty, the buttons work, That's it. And then eventually things are not working, you're not ranking, you're paying for a domain, you're paying for hosting, you're paying for a website, you're paying for a service, and you don't even know what you're paying for. And some people don't know it because when clarity is not clarified, let me use that word for lack of a better word, there's going to be blurriness in the mix. So the idea of taking action is based off what you tell them. And action is taken from the beginning of the conversation. At the very beginning, if I find your link on Google, then the reason why I'm clicking on it is because the words meant something to me. It felt like something that I needed to hear or see or read. But if I don't feel that way, how am I going to know that that's what I'm expecting to see? So some people feel like, okay, buy my product, purchase now, subscribe here, look at this now, and then all of a sudden you don't know what to do. What's up, Luan? Welcome. And good to see you as well, Aberu. When you have connections on Google, on Baidu, on DuckDuckGo, on Naver, on Microsoft, I'm just giving you crazy different Yandex. These are all search engines, YouTube, Pinterest. These are platforms that you want to get more in front of. And she even told me on the call, when I give her a call, hey, thank you so much for calling me back. I didn't think you'll call me. And I was like, I thought it was late to call you because we finished this call late. I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're in Pacific, you're in Mountain, you're in Central, you're in Eastern, or in a whole different country. I don't know. But she was in Eastern. And she was like, yeah, thank you for calling me. And she booked a call as soon as we got off this call here on Clubhouse. And I called her and she was surprised that I called her. But now that has built a relationship because now you care about that person. Somebody books a call with you or fills up a form and you don't talk to them for a week or you don't talk to them for 24 hours and you wonder, a lot of things are happening in 24 hours. So, and you're the last person they're going to think about, especially if they're the first thing that they're going to do outside of what you're giving them. So your idea is to give somebody a long-lasting impression that makes them think about you even when they think about something that you do. That's where the action taking comes from, right? And I'll give you an example. When you go to Google and you're looking for a service, you're looking for a product, you're looking for a result, these results are going to come out based on what you set. And someone's not going to know what your website looks like until they click it. So if I'm telling you that here's a gift and I'm giving you this gift, you don't know what's inside this gift. It's a surprise. It's when you open it that you'll be like, oh my goodness, I didn't know you were thinking about me like this. Oh, this is so cool. God bless you. You don't know that. But the feeling of receiving the gift is already a warm welcome. And then opening the gift is now like, okay, we have arrived. So the idea of having a website is like a wrap. It's like a gifting wrap, right? Somebody doesn't know what your website is all about. It's until I click it that I'm going to feel like, oh man, I'm seeing a lot of yellow. I'm seeing a lot of blue. Like we're working with a client today and we've been building their website for a couple of weeks now because it's a huge project. And looking at this website, I told them, here are the things that we need to have first. And today was the first day I got to see their logo after talking to them for 4 weeks because they're still building. They're still building. So these things take time to grow. And when you start noticing that people are visiting your website more, it changes. It completely changes. I had a call today with someone who I've known for 3 years. We've been working together for 3 years. And in the beginning, she didn't know what to do. She makes very nice, beautiful dresses for little girls, especially when you have a wedding and you have the flower girls. She makes dresses for amazing, beautiful lady, girls. And the dresses are so specific. Like she has completely different, styles, just different dresses. And they're like, oh, this is cute, because you don't know what they're going to wear, but somebody has set the tone. And she's an elderly woman. She's doing her thing. She's loving. She's not even doing it as a business. She's just doing it because she loves it. It's her passion project. But she didn't know how to get sales. She didn't know how people connect with her. And she's a whole different state from me. So I said, okay, let's get this thing going. Come to find out today, we get on the call. She tells me, Favour, I've been getting sales on my website and people are finding me all the way in California, and she lives all the way in the Midwest. And you wonder, oh, this is interesting. They don't know these people. She doesn't know them. They don't know her. But because we were able to set the tone, they turned from a website visitor to an action taker. Now, action taking doesn't only include sales. It also includes leads. It includes action taking within the element of surprise, right? I'll give you an example. If you go to a website and let's say you're looking for some beautiful, nice shoes, right? And you want to buy these shoes. Welcome, Billy. Good to see you here. And Drieli. When you have a shoe that you like, a pair of shoes, and you go to Nike or you go to any type of shoe store, Skechers, or you go to, name it, and you go to their website and they tell you, oh, okay, this is a size this. Like for me, I'm a size 13, right? That's my shoe size. So if I'm looking for a shoe size and I know that it's not there, and let's say there's something I want, but it has it in size 10. And I'm like, man, I want this shoe so bad, but I can't get it because it can't fit me. And then there's a list, there's something that says join the wait list or fill in this form or fill in a request, to tell us what you like. What I'm doing now is I'm taking action because I may not want that shoe as bad as somebody else wants it, or I may want it as bad as the other person does. But what's going to make the difference is how I'm getting that customer experience from the website. So if somebody has a picture of a shoe and now this picture of the shoe is like, okay, I love this shoe. You can buy it now, but you can't get it in your size. You have two options. Either you buy it for somebody else or you wait for it and get your own size. So if you see someone that says, or a site that says, buy now, join waitlist, you're either going to buy now or join waitlist. If there was only join waitlist, that's all the options you have. If you have only buy now, that's the only option you have. Now, the idea of having these options is for people to take action. And the action is also taken when there are colors involved. I know we haven't talked about this, but I probably will bring in a topic about marketing psychology. I think that would be really something that we can talk about too. And I hope you'll be there as well, Celeste, because that we can dive into these colors really deep, hex codes and all these things, because color and psychology play a big role into sales, into marketing, into business, into website visiting, into action taking. Because if I tell you to buy now and that buy now is in yellow, guess which company uses yellow? Amazon. They use yellow and they use blue. If you go to your Amazon app, you will see that. So those colors spark a lot of activity, right? If you see green and you see red, you may not have that same feeling. You may not have that same desire. It may be subjective. You might really, but the feeling you're getting is going to be different because those two colors spark emotion. The blue gives trust. The yellow is happy thoughts, right? People are just add to cart, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. Eventually you have a full cart that's $3,000, $10,000, $1,000, $5, but you have something in your cart. So when you now think about the action taking is where the results come from. The colors, the psychology, the words. If you send an email and that email has a color and has a button instead of a link, it changes everything. There's something that I've done for my podcast, which I'm excited to explore. I used to be putting anchor text. What is anchor text? It means that if I say click here, and don't use click here, I'm just giving you an example hypothetically. If you use the word click here, you highlight the word click here, and then you copy the link that you want to paste into that click here text, and then it turns blue. That's an anchor text because it's a hyperlink. What I've now done is I'm changing it to not just have the anchor text, but to have the text that's now anchored by the actual full link. So I can say click here, colon, full colon, space, and then I put the full link, HTTPS, for the rest of the pathway. When I do that, it now allows somebody to actually read the line or pathway or the URL, which is a uniform resource locator. When you send a website to someone or tell someone to click on a website, before they click on that website, they're reading two things. They're reading the actual link, if they can see it, or they're reading the anchor text. Actually, I'll give you three options. The anchor text, or they're reading the thumbnail, which is technically like an open graph. It shows the picture, it shows the title, it shows the description. Those are the ways people are going to click on it. Like right now, if you look at the link at the top, it says need actionable marketing resources, book a call with me. When you click this link, you're going to see the links to book a call with me. Either you want to book a call with me for marketing services, SEO services, or you want to book a call with me for website development services. Or if you want to now just get to know what I do and how I connect to people, there's a link that you can actually click on that will take you to now signing up to the newsletter, where I send out information like this so you can learn more about things that we talk about in this measure. Or you can go to the WeDon'tPlayPodcast.com podcast show and listen to the episodes that are there based on the interest of topics that you want to listen to. Now, those are different action points, right? The one that books a call with me is a search intent that is high. The one that listens to the podcast is probably a low intent. They just want to listen. So when you start thinking about websites, activity, action taking, and building that relationship, you want to be able to see exactly how these things are. And it changes everything. You might change your color from green to yellow, and that's going to increase your conversions by 1% or by 10%. You don't know those things until you try. You don't know those things until you try. So think about these things at a large scale and see how it actually plays a big role into your discoverability and also into the engagement of how people connect with you. Celeste, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. When it comes to colors and psychology, what do you normally see in today's world, especially when people are making decisions on the internet in quick succession?
I see a lot of people doing this wrong, actually. I usually work with a lot of new business owners, people just starting out. And, especially in the world of AI, everyone's making their own logos and DIY this, DIY that. And I think it's kind of unfortunate that they don't understand like the foundations of marketing, sales psychology, color psychology. I always encourage people just to do like basic research before you create a business name and create a logo. Like, I'm not saying you can't do it yourself, but it's going to cost you way more in the long run to undo something than to do it right from the jump. And you know what I was thinking about when you were talking about the colors? I kind of thought about how just in like nature and different elements, how that color psychology kind of translate. Like red, for example. Red, when you see red, it's like danger, that's like the foundation of fire, right? When you think of yellow, I know you thought of like happy. It's like the sun, smiley faces. Blue, I think of calm, secure, relaxed, like kind of like the ocean. So very interesting. I would love to do a room with you on that. I think it'd be a dope conversation. I will pass the mic back to you.
Thank you, Celeste. You're so right on this. I'll even give you like a real time example. Right now, my phone is on 24% and I have low power mode on. And with iPhone, the battery icon changes from white to yellow. So when you see that yellow, you're like, okay, we're safe. It's cool. But if it's white, you're like, I don't know. It's about to drop. Some people put numbers. They don't put numbers in their, icons. These numbers change. You look at the time is in white font or in white color. So when you think about these things, it's different. Like here on Clubhouse, our background here is white. If you're using dark mode, it's dark, it's black. So these things change how people view things because their engagement changes entirely. And people are looking at these things in different ways. Your wallpaper may be looking dark. Your wallpaper may be looking bright. But those things are based on how you've been able to connect with people over time. And when those things change, you see that, oh, maybe there's a reason why this thing happens this way or that way. Maybe instead of me saying schedule, maybe you can say book, because the word schedule sounds like, man, I got to schedule a call. Okay. Maybe that's a harsh word. But if I say book, you're like, okay, book a call. That means, okay, it's kind of inviting, right? And schedule doesn't mean it's not inviting, but it depends on the context of the conversation, right? If I tell you RSVP, now you feel like, okay, this is not something for me to worry about. I'm just going to RSVP for this wedding, for this birthday, for this photo shoot, for this party, and that's it. Like, I don't feel like I'm attached to it. There's no commitment. Even though I'm attached to the idea, I'm not really committed to the idea. But if I'm interested, then I'll show up. If I'm not, then something comes up, then whoop-de-doo. So at the end of the day, you have to look at it from that angle and see how people connect the dots and where does it even play a big role into your business. Because like you said to Celeste, when people are using these colors, they're not knowing what to do. They just choose a color because they think it works. But imagine if this color just changed and somebody can actually see it, it changes the whole idea of how people are actually reading the dots and how they're reading between the lines. We have a client that we were talking to today, and we had a 2-hour session. And in this session, we were going down through different things. And it got to a point where, because we're managing three of our websites and they're all on WordPress. And sorry, 2 are on WordPress, 1 is on GoDaddy. And the one on WordPress, the person that built the site for her did it in a way where the titles, the H tags, the heading tags were so big. They're so big. Welcome, Amy. And one of the people that she's working with was like, this thing is too big. I think we need to reduce it. And I said, hey, the person who built the website, they need to do this and change it because I don't want to touch what I didn't build. That's just my policy. I'm going to touch it. If I built it, I'll show you what's wrong with it. And then you can tell the person what is wrong with it and you can take the next steps from there. So I looked at it and she was not even talking about it. She was cool. And then we now asked her, do you want to keep it or do you want to change it? She's like, no, I like it like that. I'm going to keep it. That's your website. And it's big, in big font, and you can see it. But the other person was like, nah, I think it's too big, but she wanted it that way. And I said, yeah, perfect. Let's keep it like that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's going to save the day because someone's going to read that anyway. And that way they're going to understand what the person is saying. Maybe her audience will like that better because the people in her age range or her market are within a certain standard where they have to see things in big font for them to actually understand it. Imagine me sending you an email and that email is in font size 6. You might actually unsubscribe because you're like, why are you sending me this small text when you have all the letters, all the numbers you could use, but you chose 6? Imagine if I switched that and put a 1 behind it and said, okay, it's going to be 16 font size or 16 px. Now I've changed the look and feel of it because now somebody can actually read it and now the message is clear. So the idea of having a website and keeping that person as a visitor to an action taker is based on the text that you put, the colors that you put, and the call to action. The text, the color, the call to action. Those 3 things, they work together. The text has to make sense because whenever you write content on your page, it's categorized between 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, 4 words, or 5 words. And I don't want to go too deep into the technical side of it, but when I audit your website, I always tell you, this is what I see, and I'll show you my screen. And this is what I'm telling you because it's what I see. I'm not guessing. This is it. This is the reality. So when you're able to see those things and you decide, okay, maybe there's a problem here, let's fix this. Then when it's fixed and you start seeing sales, you start seeing traffic, you start seeing engagement, it changes everything. And Renee, I'm looking forward to connecting with you. Thank you for booking the call too. I'll also send you what I'm talking about so you can see it visually, because I like to show these things and make sure that you can see them so that when you see it, especially in your niche, like you talked about spirituality, it's a very sensitive topic. It's a very deep topic. When people are searching, they're looking for answers and they're trying to find the answers by the sources that actually are trusted by search engines. So there's like a whole pathway to the success model, but it has to be in a structural manner that allows someone to feel connected to that person's result or that person's observation. So when you start thinking about content, driving content, whether it's on a blog, whether it's on a product, it changes everything. I know you talked about Lovable, Renee, and I want to bring it down so that at least you can also see the difference between an AI built site and a traditionally built site. So Lovable is what you call vibe coding. You can Google the word vibe coding. What is vibe coding? And it will tell you. And majorly vibe coding, just to generalize the term, is pretty much a way of coding language that is compatible or integrated within an AI builder, or an AI server, an AI system, compared to your traditional CSS or your PHP or your HTML or your JavaScript. You know, those are things that are done traditionally with these other types of websites. So when it comes to building websites need to have structure, that the foundation is secure, that you don't have to depend on a third party platform. Like you said, they're on Facebook, people on Facebook talking about different things with their spiritual journey. Now, if we bring it from Facebook to your website and from your website back to Facebook, there are going to be conversations people are going to have on Facebook that you could have stirred from your website because you sent a link to your website to Facebook from your website. So when you start noticing that there's a way that it scales, and if you start hitting ceilings that change the trajectory of how you could actually scale, you'll be like, oh, maybe we need to do it a little differently because this is what I know. So I'd love to hear from you, Renee. What are your thoughts, especially when it comes to the scalability and also the engagement of the website when it comes to the people that you want to connect with outside the website?
Well, yeah, because like with the website, and I also sent you a back channel, you know, of it. It's really right now I have two digital journals, and mainly it is so I do shadow work journals where it's dealing with the heart chakra. It's the purpose of the journal is to declutter a person's core memory of like like past childhood trauma that about the mother wound and stuff. So lately I've just been going into groups that these are communities that grown people that suffer from like toxic mothers or narcissistic mothers, but the shadow work journal is to help them heal and really self reflect and kind of in a spiritual way. So I only go into those groups because it's kind of related to my book, my journal, and that's really about it. And then that's when one of my friends was recommend that I put my website on Amazon, and I'm like, well, I really don't want to do Amazon because it's like I'm trying to find a good green zone where it's like, okay, this is the perfect platform to because spirit shadow work journals are unheard of. It's not like a common high demand thing. Like somebody generally has to be either spiritual or love spirituality in order for that person to be like, oh, I know what this journal is, I know what it does. But that the average person, when you walk up to a person, that average person don't really know what shadow working is. So
You are right about that. I actually Googled it myself and I just typed in shadow work journal. And then I started seeing people also ask. I see what is shadow work journaling, which shadow work journal is best, what is a 3-2-1 shadow work process, do therapists recommend shadow work? And then I find other related services. It says best shadow work journal, shadow work questions, shadow work journal for beginners, beginners PDF, prompts PDF. I see workbooks as well. And I see somebody, her name is Keela Shaheen, who is pretty much dominating Google all over the internet for that keyword. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if this is a person that you're going to be going, I won't say against, but you're going to be competing with this person for the same space, then the way that they have put it out there, like you said, also on Amazon, I'm seeing the same thumbnail everywhere. Like this person has literally taken the whole space. And I think her book was published November 2nd, 2021. That's what I see. So when you start noticing these things, you start realizing, okay, somebody has taken this spot because they've put it into the algorithm to now show that this is what they do. But that doesn't mean that they're the only person or the only people who actually can do this type of work, because there are going to be options and people like to choose. People like to take chances and choose. So that's where that difference comes in. And that's where we can now come to become the comparative advantage to change everything and then change the narrative as well. So I love that you mentioned that too.
yeah, yeah, and I'm so like what
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4th of July sale and get 30% off paints and stains June 26th through July 6th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
When it comes to Google, by her doing that, like, are you able to put your website up on Amazon? Because I think, are you allowed to put your website on Amazon, even though it's not like a? Because if I'm gonna put it on Amazon, it's not gonna be a single product. It's gonna be the website and the product itself.
Right, exactly. Because when you go on Amazon, you're still on a second party data platform, just like Facebook. And it's a platform that you don't own, but you can control. And you may not be able to even control it fully. You may partially be able to control it because you can control what you have within your database or your dashboard. She is on Audible. She's on, I can see she's on, she's in Amazon. She's in Target. She's in Goodreads. She's in Kindle Store. She's in Barnes and Noble. She's in Kobo, like all these different places, because she's now connected her business to Google. And because Amazon trusts Google or Google trusts Amazon, now she can get those first dibs because she's showing up there. And of course, when you have a store on Amazon, you have a profile. Now, there are different restrictions when it comes to Amazon, so it kind of changes a little bit because you can't really control everything on the platform. But what you can control is putting your website there or putting your book there that matches your name. And then that is also going to be seen on Google. Because if Google trusts Amazon and someone's looking for a book, if I type, I'm looking for Think and Grow Rich book, I'm going to see an Amazon link because the word is within Amazon and the person has looked for the book and it matches the type query or the search query. So for you too, when you have the words and people are looking for those words, there's going to be a way that has to make sense from the website. That way it also matches, because you can see she launched in 2021 or in 2026. So she's had 5 years of just record time stationary access that someone can easily find her on Google or on Amazon and purchase her products. So it's good to be on Amazon, like your friend said, but it's not the only platform you should be on, because Amazon is not going to push your content out. It's you that's going to push your content out. And if Google knows you and knows Amazon because you have your content on Amazon, because your website is also there, which connects to Amazon too, then that's where you can build that connection in between. And there are so many parameters to look at, which we'll talk about, and make sure that you can be able to see that too. So it's a little dicey when you now think about it in different ways, but your content has to match the search query, and you don't want to depend on all these platforms and not have your own website. Celeste, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, especially when it comes to keywords and matching queries and search phrases too. What's up, Richard? Good to see you as well.
Now, you know, I am the keyword diva. Is that a thing? I think I'd like to be called that going forward. Um, so the thing about keywords, okay, I want to focus on Renee, even though Renee looked like she got a call. So I loved how you know, was able to do little free SEO research for her. I think that people don't realize about keywords is there are like so many different variations of the same keyword that you could rank for way easier. This is like my specialty. It's called, you know, finding like niche keywords that most people don't even realize. Like, oh, wow. Like, instead of trying to compete with, you know, I don't know, whoever you said for shadow work, like you could find so many different subsets of that same keyword and rank way easier. It takes a little bit more work, yes, but in the long run, you're going to see better results instead of trying to compete for like a keyword that will take you way longer to rank for. So I would highly encourage y'all, like, you know, I need an endorsement at this point for how many times I recommend this software, but SEMrush is my absolute favorite SEO keyword research tool. It is SEMrush. And it is free to use, actually. You can get up to, I think, 10 queries a day, if I'm not mistaken. Use a different email if you need more than that. Don't tell them I said that. But it's actually like the perfect tool for business owners and for you to use for free. For people like Favour and myself, where we do like tons and tons of research for multiple clients, then you'll need to upgrade to the paid version. But for pretty much everyone in this room, you can use it for free. You can also use it to do what I call spy on your competitor. So basically, Renee would be able to put in her competitor's domain name and see, like, on the back end what's causing them to outrank her. It's super dope. I love it, love it, love it. And I use and recommend it all the time. And did I mention it is very user friendly and, dare I say, color coded? I know we were just talking about color psychology, so just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, back to you.
Hey, thank you, Celeste. That is a good one. I love that you mentioned that. The searches change every day. Like we're in July right now. And that means the keyword that you paid for yesterday, let me say it this way. Yesterday's price is not today's price, right? The gas prices are different today from yesterday. We're about to go into July 2nd. The prices are going to be different tomorrow. So some prices are fixed, some are variable. But when you start looking at the quality of the content, like you said, it starts to change because you can't just be thinking about the keyword itself. You also have to think about the semantics around it. Because if someone's searching for shadow work journal and people are looking for journals for shadow work, you're going to get two different types of results. But you may get the same type of results based on the search filters that you use. So, like you said, when you're now creating content for people or content in general, it has to play a big role into how people receive it. I always say it this way: start off with a question, end with a question. That's your best bet because you're going to spark interest and spark engagement without you having to sound salesy or forceful. Because when you ask somebody a question, it's no longer a force. It's now a conversation. And a lot of people want to have a conversation because they want to understand what they're paying for or what they actually need the fill in the blank for, right? It's also from conversation to conversion. So those conversions come from the conversations that you have in your head, or the conversations you have with the people you talk to, or the conversation that you heard somebody say. So when those things start to play a big role into how you respond, it changes the narrative and it changes the scope of ideas or work from idea to execution, because now somebody's actually taking action on what you said. And if you say RSVP today, sign up now, purchase, add to cart, then someone understands add to cart. They don't have to Google what add to cart is because they know what that action is going to do. So when you start using the same language that your audience is already aware of, it makes it easier for them to connect with you because you're speaking in layman terms. If a 5-year-old can understand you, then a 50-year-old can definitely understand you. But if a 5-year-old is trying to ask you more questions because they don't understand you, then definitely for sure, a 50-year-old is going to ask you a lot of questions. So that's how you're able to really think about it and ask yourself, as a website, as a business, as a person, as a brand, what are you showing up for and how are people recognizing you? Are people talking to you? Are they talking at you? Are you talking to people? Or are you talking at people? That changes everything. So you want to be able to do these things in a very sequential way that allows someone to feel comfortable when they're connecting with you. Good to see you, Austin, Vernell, and Renee. Thank you for being here. And I don't know if Renee, if you're still on the phone, but I know you asked that question and I want to hear your feedback. Sometimes Clubhouse has the phone on and you're not on the phone, like it happened to Rocky yesterday. But if you're available, please feel free to speak and we can, continue from there. But I want to hear your feedback on that too. Okay, she's probably still on the phone. You just never know when this app is doing what it's doing. But yes, she's probably coming back. So, guys, it is so important to think about your website. Think about the action that people are taking. Think about what people are coming back for. There are two types of website visitors. I've said this before and I'll keep saying it again and again and again. You have new visitors and you have returning visitors. You're always going to have a new visitor and a returning visitor. Nobody stays on your website for 24 hours a day, 365, 366 days a year. Not all the time. At some point, they're going to log off. At some point, their Wi-Fi is going to go off. At some point, they're going to shut down. At some point, they're going to close the tab. So the time they're spending with you is precious. Those 5 seconds, those 5 minutes, those 5 hours is precious to you and to them. So if you want to make their life easier and make your life easier too, then have communication that actually allows them to take action. If someone clicks on book a call, if someone clicks on schedule a meeting, if someone clicks on RSVP now, they're RSVPing for something. If you want to highlight or say, okay, I want to make a reservation or request for a proposal, those things are happening because that is what they feel like they need to do, because they got there in the first place because you brought them in for a reason, right? You don't just walk into a door, walk into a room because you want to. It's because you have the idea of what that room is about. That's why you entered, because you want to learn more about it. Like we're talking about it here today. From website visitors to action takers, here's the plot. So if you saw this room and you came in, it's because you probably have a website, or you probably need a website, or you probably don't know what your website is doing, or you know what it's doing and what you could do better, because there's always room for improvement. So think about these things on the long term. What's up, Sandra? Good to see you as well. When you now have these things and you're doing them in a long form manner and not just for short-term sales or short-term cycles, then people can connect with you on a deeper level because they actually feel that you care about what they need. You're not just trying to get a sale, you're just trying to get a purchase or a closing deal. Those things are fancy, they're good, they're exciting. But what is really exciting is the process. For you to have been taken from point A to Z, at some point when you get to point K, you're like, oh man, I probably need to go back to D and then come back to L before I get to Z. Because you have gone through the process of allowing someone to take time with themselves and understand where they are and where they need to be, or where they need to come from and where they need to go. So from website visitors to action takers, you need to have the right text, whether it's a 1-word sentence or a 2-word sentence or a 3-word sentence or a 4-word sentence or a 5-word sentence. All of them are going to have to matter because they're all going to work together and they're all going to work towards the goal and the expected end that you want it to get to. So these things change, and that's how you're able to understand it. Action takers start from today. Today. I did this yesterday. Yeah, this was yesterday. There's a client that we work with, and they do towing services, right? They tow cars, and their competitors are AAA, and they're doing really well. And when I first started with them, their website was just all over the place. They didn't have anything connected. It was just a whole mess. And I said, nah, if you guys really want to be out there, we need to change things. Even their Google business profile was in caps lock, and it was just a lot going on. And of course, they don't know what they're doing, and you can't blame them. All they know is their business, their LLC, their S Corp, their C Corp, and they're just doing business because that's making business sense. So now coming to marketing, and they don't know that, that's why we're here. So we started working with them, asking them questions. What are your services, this and that? And they were not getting calls because towing equals calls. You're not looking for towing services when you're chilling in the house. You're looking for a towing service when you're actually stuck or when you need towing. It's happened to me before, so I know exactly how it feels. And nobody wants to feel that way, and nobody wants to get to that point. But when it happens, you have to know what to do. So I realized, oh my goodness, I didn't know I have this insurance with this company, with this service that I've never used, and I ended up using it, and I saved almost 90% of what I could have paid somebody else that would have come in 2 hours. So I learned because I had to do my own research. I kind of put my SEO hat on for myself and found a way out. And that happened, and thank God for that experience, because now I know better. So now when I'm working with a client who is doing towing services and then in a whole different state from me, and I know exactly what they're looking for, I know exactly what people are going to need because I've been there. I don't want to be there again, but I know the person that's going to be there needs help. So from being a website onlooker to an action taker, we started running Google ads yesterday. And I called him today, and he was like, yeah, somebody called me today. They paid, because even on their Google business profile, it didn't even show what kind of payments they take. Whether it's Amex, credit card, debit card, MasterCard, Visa card, there was nothing to show that they actually are in business, even though they're a business, but they couldn't show that through what they're seeing. So these are website visitors, and Google is a website too. So don't just think about your website, think about any website, whether it's Yelp, or Google or Microsoft or ChatGPT or TikTok, all these platforms have a connotation back to the source. So they started getting calls, and that has already happened within the first day. And I know that, okay, we're going to wait till July 30th, July the 31st, see what happens, and then look at it from August 1st through August 31st and see, okay, what's happening here? Because the closer we're getting to the holidays, the more people are going to be traveling, the more people are going to be moving. Right now, World Cup is going on. So a lot of things are happening, and we have to also be very careful and very cognizant of what we do. So why am I giving this example? Because when you have a website, or when you use a website like a Google Business Profile link or a Google website that will now link to your website, you have to think about these things that actually play a big role into how people connect with you on a long-term scale. So the idea is not just to build, but it's to build, scale, watch, build, scale, watch, or even build, scale, evaluate. When you do those things consistently, you're able to understand how much better it is for you. Now, Celeste, I want to ask you this. Before people took action on your site, especially because I know when people are on your website or they give you a call or they want to talk to you, they're looking at your website while they're talking to you, for instance. How would you help that person that needs help, that doesn't know where to go next because you have a website that shows them where to go, but they need that reassurance because they're calling you in the first place for that? I can call it that reassurance, because someone can just book a call with you, great. But if they talk to you and they feel like this person listens to me or hears me or actually understands my problem, then they'll pay more attention and trust you even deeper. So how do you gauge that when you connect with people online?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know if we ever talked about this, Favor, but I used to, before I started my business, I actually started in like sales. Like I had a whole, maybe 5, 6 years in sales, like where I went through extensive sales trainings. And I'm going to answer your question, but like in a roundabout way. So it's funny because I hear a lot of people and they're just like, oh, I'm talking to people and they're not buying stuff. And so I'm like, okay, well, what did you say? And they're like, well, I told them, about the product, and I told them all the ways it could help them and blah, 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 blah. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't ask any questions. I guess maybe it's a natural thing for me with all the sales experience, but it boggles my brain how people, someone gets on the phone and they're just like, oh, hey, I was wondering about your services. And they just start blurting out all these things without asking any questions. In sales, we call this qualify, right? You have to qualify your client or your customer. What's important to them? What do they actually need? What are some barriers to them, taking the next step? What's their budget? Are they even the decision maker? There's just so many questions. So I would just encourage everybody in the room, to kind of write down like, all right, before someone buys my product, how do I know if my product is right for them? That's another thing. I think we have to be honest and tell ourselves, like, my product or service is not for every single person. If you think that, I would highly encourage you to reevaluate like your strategy. Who is your client? Who is your product or service not right for? Okay. All these questions you should have answers to, and you should know exactly what questions to ask someone. So to answer your question, Favor, when I'm on the phone with someone, I am asking them a series of questions to evaluate: is my product or service even a good fit for this person? And B, let me make sure that I state to them after they give me the answers to these questions exactly why it is the right fit for them. Because you'll never know unless you ask. So please, y'all, don't start blurting out stuff. Ask some questions. Jeez. Okay, back to you, Favor.
I love that, Celeste. You got to ask the right questions. And those questions change everything. And I'm sure you've probably had an experience where you ask someone a question and then they tell you, oh my goodness, I've never thought about that question. Have you ever heard that experience before?
Absolutely. Yes.
To somebody who is expecting to tell you something that you need to hear, or a therapist or whoever it is, and they tell you exactly what you have to hear so that you can make the best decision for yourself. that changes everything. So it's very beautiful to see, welcome Shonda, how your business changes the conversation based on the questions that you ask. And that also allows people to feel like, okay, this person actually knows what they're talking about. Because if I just say, oh, buy this or take this, oh, we need your money now, click here, sign up, are you ready to buy? Someone will feel like, this person feels a little salesy. Because when they're salesy, they just don't care. But it now gets to the point where I won't even ask you to, Celeste, when does it get to a point where you know this person needs the solution, you know they're ready to buy, but now they feel agitated because they've probably had an experience that was similar to what you're giving them, but that was a counterfeit version, and you're actually the real person who can help them, but they feel burnt, so they don't want to feel burnt twice.
Ooh, this is such a good one. All right, I'm gonna give y'all free sales training. So this really changed like my life and how I approach things. I had took this sales training where they teach you how to not use the but strategy. So basically, if someone's like, oh, I really want to buy, but, I just am a little apprehensive because the last person I dealt with, they didn't deliver. You never want to say, oh, I totally get that, but, that's not me, or but, we have a money back guarantee, right? Or but you don't want to use but in your rebuttal. Okay, that's what they call it, right? You want to use that's why, right? So, first it's empathy. You say, I totally get that. We had like script, and they always want you to use I and basically say like, I understand how you feel. However you want to phrase that, you have to use empathy. You got to be like, okay, oof, yep, been there, done that. I can definitely remember a time or two when I didn't make a good choice and got, swindled. That's why I offer, a 50% deposit up front, and the rest isn't due until I complete the project, or whatever your, contract states, is a contingency to make sure you deliver on the service. You don't want to say, but you say, I totally understand where you're coming from. I feel you. That's why, before we move forward, this is what we're going to do. X, Y, Z. Okay. And then you say, okay, does that sound good? How do you feel? You always want to just basically talk to the person like you're their friend. Okay. So that's what I would do. I would not use the but strategy, but use the that's why strategy. Did you get that, Favor? I know you got a call.
I got that. Thank you. It changes everything. When you put a but, it negates everything else that you said before the but. And that's when people feel like, okay, maybe this is not the right time. And now they start second guessing themselves because they don't think that what you're saying is not even valuable, but is reasonable. So I love how you said that's why. And it changes everything. Another thing I also got to learn, which you guys can also try too, because everything you have to test. It may not work for you, it may work for you. And you can also tell people, what do you want to do about this? Or what are you going to do about this? Or what's your next step? When you start giving that person the power to choose, instead of saying, are you ready to buy? Tell them, what are you going to do next? Now that you've heard this information, now they'll be thinking, okay, maybe I need to take action, or maybe I need to wait. So those two things allow someone to feel more connected to you and actually trust the process, because now they feel like, okay, this is going to take some time, but it's going to be worth the time because the person has given me the time to think through it and not just force me through a sale as well. So I love that you said that, Celeste. What's up, Anne? Good to see you as well. Rachel as well. Thank you for being here. You haven't been on the app in a while. So it's good to see you here in the room too. So I love that you said that to Celeste. And I believe bringing up color psychology into websites are going to be important. And I'm going to coin color psychology or marketing psychology with CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. Because those colors, those words, those fonts, those styles, it changes everything. I remember talking about how I was saying it earlier that if somebody types I love you with Times New Roman font, or says I love you in Arial font, or says it in a Gothic font, you're going to feel the difference, because that love is going to feel a little different when you read it, because visually You're looking at it differently. It's like a horror film to a romance film. It's going to be two different separate things. So it's going to be based on how you're seeing the result, based on how people are perceiving it, and it changes everything. So your idea should not just be for the sake of the person reading it, but for the sake of the person who you're spending time with. That time that you spend with that person is precious. So you don't want them to leave because you told them the wrong thing when you could have told them the right thing at the right time. So that definitely changed everything. And I'll definitely bring that as well to our rooms too. So thank you so much for that, Celeste. Action takers, action takers, action takers. You know, if they're action takers in your website, it means that you have information that they can actually take home, or they can take to the bank, or they can take to their friend, or take to their spouse, or take to their minds. Because we have a lot of thoughts that run through our head every day, and we want to make sure that we have the right thoughts that run through. If I ask you, what did you think about at 9:30 this morning? You might not tell me because you probably don't know. Or you thought about something, but it didn't stick because it wasn't of a priority to you at the time. So when you start looking at where people are taking action from, it plays a big role in how people see things. Because you may have a product that someone is looking at, and that product specifically may not be, what's the word? It may not be the right time for them to purchase it now. Like now it's 10:27 p.m. Central, but at 4:27 a.m. Central, they might just be ready to buy because they woke up, they felt like, okay, I need to do this, or they dreamt about it, or they said, I got to do this now. If I don't do this now, then I'm going to have to do this later, and I don't want to do this later, so let me do it now. So when people are making those decisions, they're making those decisions based on what you've told them. If it's limited, people will feel like, oh, this is a limited edition. If I miss out, I miss it. But people are so preconditioned now to a way that, okay, if I miss it, I can get it the next time, and it may never be a next time, right? We're not going to have the same time twice at all. So it changes everything, and how it changes is based on how you're able to see it. So when you have a website, the action that somebody is taking is based on the information that they are receiving, right? Communication has signals. Sending signals and receiving signals. If I don't say something, you won't know what I'm thinking. We're not mind readers. But if we're able to read the room and we're able to say the right things to the right people at the right time, then the right things will happen for the right reasons too. So think about your website today, if you have one, if you need one, if you're going to have one, and ask yourself, what are the call to action buttons that people are going to click on? What are the call to action reading points that people are going to take? Is it going to be shop now, or is it going to be shop this look? Is it going to be shop forever, or is it going to be shop never? So choose your words wisely, because when you choose those words, that's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to feel like saying. And let me ask you guys, let's actually role play. If you saw, and put this in the chat, if you're able to type, if you see a website and it says shop now, shop this look, or let's say shop and save. I was trying to figure out a third one. Which one would you guys pick? Just put in the chat, shop now, shop this look, or shop and save. And if you don't want to type too long, put a 1 in the chat for shop now, put a 2 in the chat for shop this look, or put a 3 in the chat for shop and save. I'd love to see your thoughts and see what you would pick as well. Celeste, what would you pick out of those 3 and why, as we now get to see people's results in the chat?
Okay, say the 3 again.
The first one is shop now. The second one is shop this look. The third one is shop and save.
Clothing website, I'm assuming?
And clothing, this could be skincare, this could be what do you call it? A barbecue stand. It could be a paper clip. It could be anything. But just the product is not even the matter now. It's the action that they're going to take on the product.
Okay, because shop this look is the one that threw me off. I was like, wait, what look? I could never answer a question without asking 14 questions, y'all. I'm the question queen. I used to get in trouble in school for this. I'm going to go with shop and save just because trends show that here in the US, the number one trending e-com, thing that people look for is savings, free shipping, things like that.
Thank you, Celeste. I appreciate that feedback. And also, Heidi says shop and save. Rachel says shop and save. Thank you so much for the feedback. Feedback to me is the best currency, and that tells me a lot too about what you're thinking. And thank you, Celeste, too, because I would pick the same too, shop and save. Because when you're shopping for a reason. You're not shopping for the most expensive product. You're shopping for the most viable product, or the most resourceful, or the most accessible product, or the most convenient product. So when somebody's shopping and saving, they know, I'm going to save $5, or I'm going to save 5%, I'm going to save 25%. Those things change everything, because someone feels like, okay, if I'm going to shop and save, your click-through rate goes up the roof, and all those clicks track signals. We were talking about search signals the other day. I think it was yesterday. The other day, I can't remember. We were talking about a lot of things. And when you think about the search signals, people are going to feel a type of way when they receive that signal, right? Like you said, Celeste, shop this look. Someone doesn't want to look at it. Somebody wants to purchase it. But the word save has changed the narrative. If this price was the same, $49.99, and there were 3 buttons, and someone sees shop now, shop this look, shops, and save, the reason why they are saving it, or why they're even clicking on shop and save, is because they feel like this action that I'm taking is going to help me save money. So when people are taking action, they're taking action with a process, with a thought in mind. They're not just shopping because they feel like shopping or they have the money to shop. They're shopping because they want to shop in a smart way. So it changes everything. And I love you guys for putting that in the chat, because it helps me to know what you guys are thinking too. Now, it changes everything when you have these things in a way that actually allows someone to connect. Now, let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into this. Now, you want to click on shop and save. Would you click on a yellow button, a red button, or a blue button? Put in the chat. Let's see. Will you click on shop and save with yellow, shop and save with red, or shop and save with blue? Let's even add a fourth one, black. Let's just put it there, because a lot of people use that too. So what would you pick? Okay, I see Heidi says red. Okay, let's see what else we have in the chat. Celeste, what would you pick between red? Okay, let me start again. Yellow, red, blue, black.
I am definitely going to go with yellow.
Okay. Why?
Is that's funny. Earlier you talked about Amazon being yellow and blue. Walmart is yellow and blue too. Y'all see the trends there? But yeah, I'm gonna go with yellow. It just gives, happy vibes. Like, oh yeah, we about to save some money.
Too. Success leaves clues. When you see these things, it's like, oh, okay. Because every time when you're on Amazon, you're shopping, you're saving. And these things play a big role into how people are responding. So I love that you said that. So when you start thinking about these things on a large scale, it changes everything and it allows you to even become better and build, because now these colors make sense. So if somebody's shopping, someone can see that. If there's orange and there's yellow, someone may pick yellow over orange. Hey Joe, welcome to the room. When you pick yellow over orange, or yellow over green, or yellow over red, that's because you're happy. Now, I'd love to know why, Heidi, you said red. I'd love to see why you said red. Put it in the chat if you're able to type it. But you look at it from a large perspective and you're like, okay, if I start using yellow, will my sales change? Will my action taking change? Will people be more respondent? Will they be more relaxed, or will they be more rigid, or more repulsive, right? You have to know these things and also test them out. So it changes everything because people are able to connect the dots as well. So when you see yellow and blue and you use the same colors, it's the same yellow and blue. But the reason why you chose it is because you want to see it and you want to make sure that you can be part of it as well. And Heidi says it's bright, catches the eye, you can't miss it. That's true. When it's Valentine's, everybody's using red and pink because those colors are the colors of the month. So when people are looking at these things, it changes. You don't miss those colors. You don't miss those points. When you start seeing other colors, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, maybe not. Yeah. But when you start changing it, and then people start looking at your website and they actually start getting happy because they're on your website, now they feel like, okay, now we have something to talk about. Now we have something to do. Now it feels like a place that I actually want to be connected to. So I love that you guys mentioned that, and it changes the whole narrative of the conversation. So for you to take
Oh, really
action,
quick,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I was just doing some because I'm working on my computer. I was like, let me look this up. Also, IKEA uses yellow and blue. Best Buy, Walmart, all use yellow and blue to leverage the combination to convey trust, energy, and friendliness. I just wanted to throw that in there.
You see how this trend started? So if these companies that we know are using these colors, why are we not using these colors?
Yeah, and I also want to
You don't
add,
have.
they pay big money to have people create these logos. This isn't just Google and then use ChatGPT. No, they have teams of people who create these logos. So yes, Favor, please tell the people again. Repeat it.
If these companies are using these colors, why aren't you using these colors too? You might say, oh, because that's not my brand. Oh, that's because my color is not yellow, it's not blue. Well, whoop-de-doo, that's you. Fine, cool. But if you don't get a sale, if you don't get a conversion, don't cry. Don't wail. Don't be sad. Don't feel like, oh, why is it not happening? And yet you didn't try it. Don't knock it till you try it. So people don't try, but they wonder why. And the answer is right in front of them when success leaves clues. So I feel like understanding this, if there was one thing you're going to take from today's room, is that colors are important and action taking is based on the perception of what you give, especially when people are looking for things that they want to purchase or if they want to do, if they want to make a call, if they want to book something, it happens that way. Like for me, when you look at my colors, when you're booking a call, it's purple. Purple and yellow are almost close to each other, kind of, sort of, but purple is there too, right? People choose those colors for reasons. I love purple. That's my favorite color. Now, it's not because I'm using purple always, but I see that purple is just distinct. Like you can't miss it. But yellow is also there too. For my podcast, it's orange. For virtual coffee, it's yellow. So different colors have different emotions. They drive different things. If you paint your house blue or if you paint your house yellow, there's a mood you're going to feel. If you paint your house white, if you paint your house red, if you paint your house black, there's an emotion that's going to be evoked for sure. So changing these things play a big role into how you're able to see the other side and also put yourself in your consumer's shoe. The faster they can fit into those shoes, the better. And the easier it is for them to fit in, the faster they can walk and the more they can talk. Oh my goodness, look at these shoes. Yeah. Let's take a picture. Yeah, let's run, because they feel comfortable. But if those shoes are not comfortable, that's the first thing they're going to take off when they walk right through the door. So your goal is to make sure that you fill the gap, you fill the space, and you fill the need. When you can do those things, you're golden. And I feel like we've really butchered this, for lack of a better word, this topic. So that's the plot, guys. And we're definitely going to bring color psychology into the room again and really talk about it. So I love that we were able to have this exercise and share this information and just be more cognizant of what we do so that we can actually enjoy the time that we spend with people and also give back where we can. Because these colors, these websites, this action taking, it requires your time. That's why when people click on links, it's blue. Google has, I think, 3 or 4 colors, but why don't they use green? They use blue for a reason, because blue brings trust. Whenever you see a hyperlink, it's normally blue. That's why with Amazon add to cart is yellow because you keep clicking yellow, 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 add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. And then blue is like, okay, now I'm ready to buy. Why wasn't it red? Why wasn't it green? Why wasn't it burgundy? Why wasn't it mauve? Why wasn't it fuchsia pink? Why wasn't it turquoise? Because these colors have different emotions. So when you think about these things and you have a website, your website is going to bring a lot of information because the text and the context of the content is going to really play a big role in how people respond back to you too. So that's my TED Talk, y'all. And I hope you guys were able to learn something new. If you learned something and it made sense, please put a 1 in the chat. That will help me to also know that I didn't waste your time and I helped you understand something that was kind of like in the way, but now you have some type of clarity that gives you some type of understanding, even if it's not fully, but now you understand a little bit better than when you came in as well. Celeste, we'd love to hear from you. What are your final takeaways? Even if it's 1 or 2, what will you tell people and what do you feel?
I think my final takeaway is something I always try to tell new business owners is, instead of just relying on your feelings, and listen, feelings do help a little bit, but what we want to do is make data-driven decisions. So really do your research before you're, throwing a logo up on your website, before you're picking your colors, before you're, talking to your people. Really be a student of the game of this thing we call business and study these big brands. I'm so glad, Favour, that you brought that up because, I have a saying, it's okay to be a copycat as long as you're copying the right cat. And I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, Favour, for the room today.
You are welcome, Celeste. And that was a good rhyme right there. So I love that. And thank you, Vernell. Thank you, Heidi, for the ones in the chat. I appreciate you guys, and sharing your feedback with me means a lot. And I hope this has given you insight, because when you look at these brands and you see why they use these colors, the next time you walk into a Best Buy, a Walmart, an Amazon app, anything that you do is going to change everything that you do. Anything that you do is going to change everything that you do. So when you start noticing those things and noticing the patterns, try it out for yourself, evaluate, and then see if it works. If it works, then continue working through it. If it doesn't work, then try something else. But something is definitely going to work, but you have to work it. You don't go to the gym once. You go to the gym as often as you can to make sure that you can have that calorie deficit. You can have that body structure that you need. You can have that mind clearance that you need, that clarity that you need. So things happen for a reason, and you have to take that reason very seriously if you want to see the reason change or the reason behind what you're doing. So I love that we're able to talk about this. If you want to book a call with me, click the link above. If you want to connect with me offline, please feel free to do so. I have so many access points, so you can click on my face or click the link above, and you can be able to connect with me outside Clubhouse so we can get the business done. So thank you again, Celeste, for being here. Appreciate you. And I'm glad that we were able to match your schedule. I hope I can make it 3. That would be a 3-peat. That would be dope. I appreciate you for being here. Luan, Tony, Mr. Chris, Renell, Rachel, Danny, Michelle, Ann, Heidi, ALC, and good to see you guys as well. ZF0015. Appreciate you. And I love the love that you guys both put, Luan and Mr. Chris. That was dope. It was the same time. So thank you all. Have a wonderful July. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for the coins. Appreciate you, Celeste. And I hope to see you guys soon. And until we meet again, have a blessed night. Stay warm, stay hydrated, stay blessed, and stay out of trouble. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Welcome to season 13, where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. A lot of information is always given on this show. So we're in the 13th season. God has brought us so far, and I just want to thank God for the opportunity to connect with you today on such quiet, calm space like this. So thank you for listening. Know that Jesus loves you, and know that you can always connect with me on the We Don't Play Podcast show. More specifically, go to wedon'tplaypodcast.com, or you can go to playinc.online. That is inc.online, and get in touch with me. Let's get on a call. Let's talk. Let's focus on SEO for 2026 and beyond. So until we meet in the next episode, God bless you. Jesus loves you. Stay hydrated, stay safe, and stay blessed, and stay tuned. Bye for now.